Boxers Trainers channel. And last night or early this morning in Sydney, Australia, Keith one time Thurman, fought Black Jarvis, right, in a 10 rounder. And as expected from some of us, Keith Thurman knocked Brock Jarvis out in the third round, right? It was a dominating knockout, to say the least, especially for Keith Thurman after 3 years inactivity and multiple injuries that prevented him from coming back to the ring. So time passed. Keith Thurman stuck to his discipline, and after 3 years came in and fought I just don't know how to explain it, a miraculous fight. He knocked out Jarvis in the third round, and I mean, it was a superb 3 rounder. You know what I mean? Especially for a journeyman. That's what is missing in the analogy of boxing today, right? The status of the boxer, right? In the sense that Keith Thurman is what? Keith Thurman, I believe, is hold on, I'll give you the intel there. Keith Thurman is 36 years of age. He's 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. He's right-handed. He has 33 of date wins, 22 by knockout, one loss. I believe that was to Manny Pacquiao. He's never been stopped, no losses, no draws. He was formerly the unified middleweight champion of the world, right? So Keith Thurman is the type of boxer, right, that continues to practice his craft. You know what I mean? He is one of those boxers that refuses to go into a situation unprepared, and that's what makes great boxers. I have to say, after viewing the fight between Keith Thurman and Brock Jarvis, that Keith Thurman is really one of the best boxers in the world. Right now, I had apprehensions before today, when it came to Keith Thurman. But Keith Thurman, let me tell y'all, put all those thoughts to rest. In this particular bout, Keith Thurman showed a journeyman's aggression toward a young up and coming boxer, right? And this cat was in good physical condition, right? I mean, you could tell from his physique that he didn't come to get knocked out, right? Keith Thurman had to do what he did and put him in the position that he could knock him out, and that's exactly what he did, right? That was the journeyman outclass of a less challenging opponent, right? Now, not taking anything away from Brock Jarvis. Brock Jarvis came to fight. The first round, Brock Jarvis actually did a lot of dominating with body shots, right? But a part of Keith Thurman's regiment was to see what his opponent could bring, and if he was capable of penetrating Keith Thurman's defense, and he wasn't, right? So in the second round, it was still a filling out process for Keith Thurman. But after Keith Thurman saw some flinches, right? Some flinches from body shots that he gave to Brock Jarvis, Keith Thurman then decided it was time to put the work in necessary to get him out of there. And that's exactly what he did, right? I mean, look, this was a awesome, I mean, in my opinion, it could be easy to consider as the fight of the year, right? Because Keith Thurman put the work necessary in to showcase his skills even at 36 years of age. So let's be perfectly clear about the age differentiation between a journeyman that takes his craft absolutely serious, as is the case with Torrance Will Crawford, right? We can easily connect those two together when it comes to being a journeyman boxer, right? Because they continue to put the work in necessary to be at the top of the food chain when it comes to boxing. You know what I mean? And it's simple as that, right? I mean, for those that really know boxing, shout out to the Mexican G in the house, my brother. What's going on, champ? For those that love boxing like I love boxing, absolutely, absolutely. I saw it, and it was a devastating win and no, it was a devastating loss for Block Jarvis and an absolutely superb win for Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, in my opinion, is back, right? And whoever comes up to the plate and fight Keith Norman next, be it Tim Zoo or whomever, they better be on their P's and Q's because Keith Thurman is here to stay. Keith Thurman has made his position perfectly clear, right? I'm not ready to go, right? And that display with Brock Jarvis totally indicates that. Shout out to the Mexican G. The Mexican G said Keith Thurman was always one of his favorites. You know, I mean, I'm gonna be realistic with you. I really didn't gravitate towards Keith Thurman, right? I mean, because I really never analyzed Keith Thurman like I had the opportunity to analyze him, like today and yesterday, right? Man, Keith Thurman is a superb craftsman, and he puts everything. Let me say this: when he work out, I believe, right? He takes every aspect of his offense and defense absolutely serious, right? His movement in that fight between Brock Jarvis was nothing short of superb, man. I mean, his movement, you know what I mean? It didn't appear to me as a boxer, right, as an ex-boxer, that Keith Thurman had been out of the ring for 3 years because he was just dazzling is the correct word. He was dazzling, man. You know what I mean? In the sense that his movement, right, was consistent with saying that I've been in the gym and I've been putting in work, right? And ain't nothing this cat can do, right, that can put me in a position where he can do something to me. That's what you call superb boxing. You know what I mean? That's the type of boxing that I fall up under the Muhammad Ali theory, right? And that is to me, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And that is exactly what Keith Thurman did to Brock Jarvis in Sydney, Australia. You know what I mean? So let me say this in all fairness before I continue. Shout out to my main man, the Mexican G's, and I think that it's necessarily that I say this right. As of late, I've been kind of like out of sorts emotionally, right? And I've been taking it out on people dear to me. You know what I mean? I put myself in a position where I, I've allowed my emotions to dictate the actions of my movement, right? Verbally and otherwise, right? In doing that, I kind of like stepped on a couple of people's toes that was dear, that are dear to me. You know what I mean? And I just want to, you know what I'm saying, give a shout out to myself for recognizing that, right, and sharing that with y'all, right? And I'm gonna that had something to do with the uh, authenticity of my representation, even in the podcast, right? And I know that, you know what I'm saying. So, looking forward, right, I'm gonna keep things in the right perspective from here on out. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have no excuse. I don't want to use no excuses, right? I'm just gonna say I was uh, into my feelings, into my emotions, right? And you know what I'm saying? Mature adults, especially at my age, cannot afford to be out of sorts emotionally, especially when it comes to the boxing and dealing with human nature. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, man, look, I ain't gonna be staying here all day. You know what I'm saying? Crying on y'all's shoulder. The Mexican G, I love you, boy. And shout out to Keith Thurman and Brock Jarvis, right, for putting on a display of boxing. That being said, hey, y'all know what to do. Hit that subscription button, hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, and let me know what y'all think about whether Keith Thurman is washed up. And share the video with your friends and relatives. Thanks, Domestic G. Shout out to you, brother. I'll check you out later. I'm gone.